right? They're out of the house. They're not around. I always joke to kids, I'm like, wherever you go, I'm buying a condo next door. 100%. I don't care where, I don't care if you live in 7 places. I'm buying 7 condos right. Like, by the way, I'm building my bank to do that, like financially, like to be prepared for when that happens so they can call my bluff and I pull it out. I'm Rich.
Now what?
What's up, Tim? How you doing today, buddy?
Good, man. Mark, good to be here, buddy.
Likewise, man. The show is blown up. Last week, people are furious in a good way. Why? Because we're challenging them. That's what the show's about. I'm Rich. Now what is not challenging you to be a bad person, but a better person. You're not alone. You have all these thoughts. You're like, why am I crazy? And they're crazy, and everyone's crazy. At the end of the day, we all are crazy. We just know ourselves are a little crazy. But no, man, it's been good, dude. We got people sharing the show. We got some new testimonial, like new 5-star reviews coming in. And we're on show 22, 23. I don't know now, but we're going to keep going. And I'm excited for the feedback as always, man. What about you?
No, man, it's awesome. And again, we appreciate you guys sharing it. We appreciate you giving us 5-star reviews. We got nothing to sell. We're here in order to try to make a bigger impact, right? I know that the ripple effect that we can make with people who have already overcome the how do I keep the lights on and how do I keep food on the table, right? We're talking to people who have already been there and built big businesses and have the ability to make a big impact. And I feel like we have the responsibility to make a big impact. So if we can help you guys out with continuing this ripple effect, I think it's going to be awesome. And I think we can make do a lot of really, really good stuff in the world. So appreciate you guys being here. Again, we're not selling anything. We're here to just have conversations about once you reach a certain level of income or net worth or financial stability in your life, what's next? What comes after that? And how are you spending your time? How are you prioritizing your tasks? How are you making that impact? How are you fulfilling yourself and others in life as well? And we have those conversations every single week here. And if you know that it can make a big impact in other people's lives, please share the show. Please share 5-star reviews. Please share feedback on things you liked, things you didn't like, things you'd like to hear about, people that we need to meet and have on the show. Like, that's all really, really good stuff and super helpful for us. And that's all we ask for. So thank you guys for being here.
Yeah, and Tim, at the end of the day, we are selling something. We're selling, a bigger vision of yourself, a bigger opportunity for what you're capable of. We're selling you on the idea that you're not crazy. We're selling you on the idea that, you can go out and, be more generous, have more, get more, and everything in between. So, we're always selling. Everyone here is selling. That's the only way you got here is you got to be selling all the time. But it doesn't necessarily mean monetization for us. I do think there's a big need and want for what we have to offer, and as we're seeing it, man, it's real. I wish this stuff existed when I was on that. I'd have more money, dude. I'd have more money. I'd have more peace. I used to have to pay 25, 30 grand for a day to get in a room like this, to be honest. And that's the truth. I've done that many times. But
well, everybody's talking cool about how to get money, right? Like, that's how to get money, and they're when you're worried about keeping the lights on, putting food on the table, and just like your own personal needs, you can't make a big impact. And there's not a lot of conversations happening about once you have money, now what are you doing, right? How are you paying it forward? How are you, the conversations and how are your relationships? How is your health? Like, all that kind of stuff that we talk about, man, it's so needed because it doesn't exist.
Yep, exactly.
So what are we talking about today?
Well, Tim, as you know, everyone loves to hear kind of like, what's a day in a life look like for you guys, or anybody for that matter. It's like, dude, like, are we hanging out, sitting in, like you said, waking up, putting on our gold-laced robe with our flip-flops encrusted with diamonds dripping everywhere, going to the library, cherried out with a pipe and just smoking all day and listening to opera music? Like, what do we do all day? To be where we're at. And I think we just talk about it, dude. We have no agenda. I probably have to pull up my phone and see what I did yesterday, because I don't know about you, man. So, doing a lot of things. We got a lot of stuff going on. I'm an investor. I'm a dad. I'm a husband. I'm a friend. I'm a business guy. Like, I think that's the thing is, as us from afar, like, we're a lot of things. I know a lot of times people are like, oh, I'm a business guy. Like, you're so much more than that, right? But we hold a lot of identity into these pieces. So, I think just having priorities. I'm not a big believer in. Actually, I'm not a believer at all in balance, work-life balance, because there's no one that got to this point in our life that is balanced all the time. But we are very priority driven, and if your priorities are not aligned, you're going to mess things up. So let's talk about that. But yeah, you cool with that?
I
What's
love
the
it.
day in the life look like for Bratz over there?
It's one of those. It's one of those questions that actually comes around more often than you'd think. And it's like, what does your morning routine look like? I just read this book and I do this, this, and this, and make sure I do all these things before a certain time in the morning. And it's like,
Yep.
is that what you do, Tim? I was like, no, not necessarily, right? Like, there's different ways to look at this. And I think a big takeaway from this is that, like, there's no right or wrong. It's what works for you and your priorities, right? Having the awareness around what matters to you and then prioritizing the action steps needed in order to then pursue those priorities is what really matters. But I can talk about mine, you talk about yours, and we'll kind of dissect it.
Yeah, I think we got to get guys real quick context. Like some people are night owls and they perform really well at 9 p.m. to 2 a.m. right or whatever. I'm the opposite. I like to get up super early. My son's getting up at 5 o'clock. I get up at 4:30, 5 o'clock. Like I'm an early riser. I thought, but my whole life with my mom and dad, that's what I had to do. That's what I had to do to go to the babysitter, to go to school, because my parents had to drop us off early, to go to work, and all that stuff. So I like many years of doing that, it just became normal to me. And for me, nothing good happens after 10 p.m. ever. You know what I mean? So it's like, if you have bad habits because you're from 9 to 2 a.m. and those habits are rolling over into your next day, well, these are things you probably would want to clean up and pay attention to, right? Where are you the most optimal? Maybe it's midday. I know a buddy worth like $3 billion, dude. He gets up at 10 a.m., literally. But he literally functions from 9 p.m. to 2 a.m. every night. Like he's very creative, very big, but again, let's step back. His business doesn't need him every day now like it used to. So that's where he's at today. That's not how he started. He started the opposite. He started just grinding 18 hours a day for 10 years. So a lot of this stuff here, and we'll talk about the cycles and all that, man. I'm excited. This will be fun.
I love it, man. So
Yeah.
let's go through what I think is going to be important is like showing the activities that we focus on, both business and lifestyle, right? And then how we prioritize our time. In a tactical manner, right? Like going through a calendar is a very quantifiable way of looking at this. And so, and if we have time, maybe we can even dive into like daily, weekly, monthly routines or things that like are on the calendar we don't do on a daily basis, but things that, we measure or make sure we do on a weekly or monthly basis, I think would be cool too. And really highlighting the highest and best use of our time, both on the business side and on the life personal side. So why don't you start and go through like, let's start with your morning and then we can go into the afternoon and go into the evening.
Yeah, man, I'm very regimented in the morning. Like I said, that to me, the morning starts my whole day off, right? If I miss, I miss. So, again, I'll make it super like granular. Let's say I'm up at 4:44, right? Up at 4:44, go into my office or whatever, or another room. I don't do anything before I do. I do 100 sit-ups and 100 push-ups, right? That's like my first thing I do. Drink, take a leak, brush teeth, do all that fun stuff. Other than that, and then I'm getting ready for the day. I'm kind of like writing down some stuff, looking at my calendar, what I got going on the day. By 6 a.m., I'm either walking, running 3 or 4 miles, or going to the gym for an hour, getting that in, getting the exercise in. Typically listening to a podcast show or whatever I'm listening to, or audiobook. So I'm doing a couple different things at the same time, right? Learning. But let me step back for a second. The first thing I do when I step in to my car to go to the gym or step outside to go on the walk, I call my dad. I call my mom and dad every morning. Literally every single morning, he's drinking coffee and watching, listening to some kind of church thing, or be Joel Osteen, or I forget the other lady's name he always listening to. But that's every morning. So it's kind of like a 7-day. By the way, this is a 7-day thing, not 6 days, not 5 days, not 4, 7 days a week. I do this. It's just ingrained in me. Boom, boom, boom. I got to move. And again, I know some buddies that can like get up early and just hang out for 3 hours. I can't do that. Like it's not motivating to me. I got to get up, be active. Like I'm literally like running to the bathroom, running upstairs, get that. Like I have to get moving just to kind of okay, now I'm good, so I don't go back into fall asleep mode. Um, but that's my morning, dude. And then I'm back at the house by 7:20. I'm sitting down with the kids. I get Drea up out of bed, hang out with Mark, go in his room, give him a hug and kiss, tell him I love him. And then like literally I'm downstairs playing, watching TV, whatever they're doing, like making breakfast or whatever, because they go, the teacher gets here at 8 a.m. For school. And then by 7:50 ish, I'm up in the office and I'm getting to work. You know what I mean? The truth is, dude, this sounds wild. I very rarely, unless I have meetings, I'm not taking a shower until the evening, right? I'm just up. I'm working. Like I don't. To me, it's like 7 minutes. I could like be upstairs. But again, that's just me. I'm up here by myself, so I don't have to worry about stinking and all that fun stuff. But so it's like, and I know many people. Like I was talking with a buddy of mine. He's like, dude, I'm the same way. Like I'm not even thinking about showering. It's not even a thought, truthfully. Just get up and go and start executing. But that's where I'm at. That's my morning routine. What about you?
Yeah, man. Pretty similar. My kids go to school. I know you guys homeschool, but I get up at 6 a.m. every morning, and then I'm kind of responsible for getting the kids going. Kate like makes their breakfast and has their lunches ready and stuff. But like I get down there, I'm making sure that they got their teeth brushed and potty, teeth, getting dressed, all that stuff, just kind of supporting them on that front. And then I take them to school every morning at 7 o'clock in the morning. And then when I get back, Annabelle, our youngest one, the 3-year-old, we get her up and get to goof off with her for maybe 10, 15 minutes. And then I go to a workout class every morning at 8 o'clock. And so I get like my intense workout in from 8 a.m. to 9 a.m. And then I come back. And what's funny is like, dude, I'm the same way. I really don't. I usually shower like later in the afternoon or even like in the evening right before bed.
Yeah.
It's just my mind starts going and I don't want to take time away during the day of, to take 30 minutes to go shower. So like I get back from my workout, I might have a snack or like a protein bar or something. I'm really not a big breakfast person, but I want to get a little bit of protein in me afterwards. And on something I've been doing for the past couple of months, like 6 weeks, and I'm down like 16, 18 pounds or something, is I fast 3 days a week. So, and I only do it every other week. And then in the other off weeks, I limit my calorie intake to like 1,200 calories Monday through Wednesday. Dude, it just keeps me in line because otherwise I'm very disciplined in pretty much all aspects of my life except for when there's just food everywhere, right? Like except for when the kids have nuggets and mac and cheese and they don't finish it all and I come and have the last few bites of it. And then like,
oh yeah,
if I'm regimented 3 days of the week, then I don't feel bad about just being more flexible on my food and stuff the other 4 days. And so it just worked out really, really well for me. I feel healthier, I feel better, and all that stuff. So yeah, man, but like I get back, call it from 9 to 9:30ish. Maybe I'll just have a snack, maybe goof around with Annabelle, my youngest one. And then usually from 10 to about 2:30, I'm all in on phone calls. And that's what the meat of my day is. The meat of my day is having business phone calls that are strategic. Typically mine are with either investors or like team asset management or team kind of calls. Usually on the marketing, sales, business development side of things is where majority of my phone calls take place. A lot of text messages, a lot of emails, but majority phone calls. And one of the reasons I don't shower until later is because I usually take those phone calls while I'm walking. And so I'm taking a walk either with my dog on the beach or if it's high tide, I'll take it on the road. And I'm getting like, in an hour phone call or a 30-minute phone call, and I stack a few of them in a row, dude, I can knock out 4 or 5 miles in about an hour and a half. So in 90 minutes, man, I'm getting a lot of steps in. And I think for me, that's important because, I'm regimented in a 45 to hour long workout. That's like high intensity strength building and or cardio. But like, otherwise I get, stagnant and sedentary just sitting in a desk. And I don't like that. And so I like to get going and move around and move my body and hammer out phone calls. And I feel like I'm more interactive. That whole motion creates emotion thing from Boiler Room. Like that to me is a real thing when I'm taking phone calls and having phone calls and I get more strategic. And dude, it's just, psychologically and physiologically, it makes more sense for me and my body. And so, dude, I work like a psychopath doing phone calls and emails and text messages from, call it, some days my calls start at 9 or 9:30. Usually it's like 10 o'clock to about 2:30. Um, and then the kids get home from school right around 2:30, and I don't schedule anything during the time that the kids arrive home from school, because I don't want them to come in and see me on a phone call or see me on a Zoom meeting, and me not acknowledging them walking through the door. And so when they get in, dude, I make it the biggest, hey, what's going on? Get over here, give daddy a hug. I love you. Mwah. How was your day? Tell me all about it. What's something crazy that happened? Something funny that happened? And I'm there with them for about 15, 20, 30 minutes when they get home from school. And they usually like to go and veg out because they're like, fried from being at school. So then they go and veg out and they'll go watch a TV show or like an educational YouTube video or something like that, or a nature video, or read a book, or go and play games or whatever. So that then allows me to go back and I knock out another about hour worth of work until about 4 p.m. And then every day at 4 p.m., dude, phone goes away, computer gets turned off, and I'm home with the kids and hanging out with Annabelle. Annabelle gets up from her nap around 3:45, 4 o'clock. And so when she's up, I haven't seen her for most of the day because I've been out and about. And so now I'm like all in on spending time with her, and the other kids, stop their vegging out after about an hour, and then we go and do some sort of family activity. So we'll take a walk on the beach. We do golf cart rides a lot. I love doing golf cart rides around Isle of Palm, Sullivan's Island, and just doing stuff like that. The kids have activities though too, right? A lot of times there's sports or dance, things like that. And then we try to do a family dinner together. Annabelle goes down for bed at around 8 o'clock, and then the other kids go to bed around 9 o'clock, right? I usually get them ready and put them down for bed. It's a tag team job. Kate helps a lot with that stuff too. I usually handle the big one. She handles the younger one. And then I'm either hanging out. I usually fall asleep in the kids' room, right? And I wake back up and Kate's already in bed. Or if I can put them to bed and get back up there, try to hang out with her for an hour, hour and a half. And I usually get to bed around sometime between 10 and 11 is a typical schedule though.
That's cool, man. Yeah, same way. I think, the biggest thing is like, we got to realize like what we're doing all day with these phone calls, right? I'm talking to investors, I'm talking to partners, I'm talking to affiliates, I'm talking to, team members. Yesterday I'm just going to go off of yesterday because the biggest thing too, I don't know about you, Tim, but like I have a pretty boring life. Like I'm not partying and hanging out and yachting and jet setting and blah, 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 blah. Not saying we don't do these things sometimes, but like the majority of my days are very similar. Yep. And I'm talking Saturday, Sunday, like every day is very similar for me, especially in the mornings for sure up till noonish. But so kids get out of school at noon, right? They're out at noon. I'm doing calls and doing these things. But yesterday, man, I had a 12 to 2 meeting with a guy, a couple partners, stuff that we're working on, very large connections. I think that's another thing too. The old me would go meet people if I could make $1 or millions of dollars. Like now it's like they better make 7 figures or it's not even worth meeting, truthfully, in person, right? Because I know a 30-minute meeting's not 30 minutes, it's 2 hours. We always plot 2 hours for that because it's like going to extend. It's here at the club. I literally take the golf cart there and just do my thing. And then at 2 yesterday, from 2 to 3:30, me and Dina and the kids go to Dria's gymnastics. We're hanging out there. She's doing her gymnastics. We leave, come back, boom. Like you said, the kids disperse. Mark goes to his friend's house. Dria goes to the kids' center. And then at 4:30, they have tennis, right? So 4:30 to 5:30 on Tuesdays. That goes on. And then Taco Tuesday was yesterday, right? So we literally, it's a family thing. We go to Taco Tuesday, hang out till about 7, talk, what's working, what's not. Yesterday's talk at the table. I was saying, kids, how afraid of you are dad and mom? Are you afraid of me? Right? I think kids should be afraid of their parents. I truly do. Because if they're not afraid of anybody. And that's a problem. Like you're seeing it around the world. And when I mean afraid, not like, oh my God, my dad's going to beat me. But like, I don't know about you, dude, but if I got out of line with my dad, I'm scared. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? He doesn't have to say anything. He's just got to look at me differently. And I'm like, oh, shoot, I'm in trouble. So it's not like I'm beating them, but like I do think there has to be that. And I was asking, like, Dria's like, I was like, Dria, 1 out of 10. And, she's like she's definitely going to be the one that it's going to cause a lot of headache and heartache for me. But she's like, Dad, like 100 trillion mean. You're so mean. And I'm like, so what are you talking? Like laughing. And Mark's like, definitely a 10, Dad. Definitely a 10. He's like very like clean about that stuff. But have these family conversations and all that stuff, and then bounce home. And like I said, then Dina's very good at like brushing the teeth, showers, do the hair, blah blah blah. Dre always wants me to blow dry her hair, and as you know, a lot of this stuff is annoying, truthfully. Like, but it's like there's going to be a time very soon, unfortunately, that I'm going to wish she would ask me to blow dry her hair.
100%.
That she's going to wish that I sit down and lay down and talk to her. And then Dina reads a book with them. And then the kids play for about 30 minutes from 8 to 8:30 to 9. We're all in our bed, my bed, like Dina and I's bed at 9 o'clock. We hang out and we watch like an old TV show. Right now we're watching, what is it called? Family Ties. Right, so we're watching all those. We only watch the old stuff like Tim the Tool Man, Family Ties, Urkel, whatever. So we're watching that whole series. It was like, back in the day, dude, they did like 28 episodes per season, And I try to explain to kids because you see it happen so fast as they get older. And I'm like, you understand, like that would take me 18 years to watch that because like we condense it in like a year. And but it's really neat to see, like, what was it called? Family Friday Night. I forget what it's called, Triple F or whatever. But so yesterday, like I said, I was talking. Well, let me see here. Yeah, TGIF. Thank God it's Friday, right? So I'm like looking at me. So assistant, partners, three people. I always send 3 texts or 3 emails or 3 calls telling people, hey, I'm thinking about you. I appreciate you. And I'll just give you a flavor of what that looks like. It's a guy, Alex, I know. Happy Tuesday, Alex. Just was thinking about you, my man, because I was. Love watching you from afar and being a great human. Keep kicking butt. That's all I said. Nothing. I didn't take a picture. I didn't do a video. It was just simple text because it was in passing. I was actually in between meetings, and he just popped up in my brain. Maybe I saw him. So I don't know why he popped up in my brain, but he did. So I took immediate action. I was at 10:50 a.m. yesterday, and he's like, thank you for the thoughtful text, brother. Always great to hear from you. Much appreciated, my friend. Again, I've never had anybody say, screw you, Evans. Don't text me nice stuff, My mom went into the hospital yesterday, so I was texting her a lot yesterday. A guy owed me money. He finally paid, so he texted me, hey, man, money sent. Thank God. A lot of team members looking for a new doctor for another doctor for our company. So, again, you and I have leverage, right? We have leverage points. I have great relationship capital. So my team I'm talking to, they're like, dude, we need another doctor that does this. Cool. Let me hit my network up. So I hit Greg up, I hit this guy up, I hit this guy up. Hey, do you know a doctor? They need 50 state, blah, 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 blah. Let them and then leverage their network. And guys like us, we're very resourceful and we want to be resourceful to others, right? So a lot of connection. I hooked 2 guys up, one guy from Indiana, another guy from Charlotte in the 9-figure trucking business world. Hooked 2 guys up. And by the way, I don't ask for referral. I'm not looking for, I genuinely look, they're both good dudes. So I hook them up, right? Tony and Bill. So I hooked these 2 guys up. Connect, you guys take it from here. Good luck. If you need anything, let me know. So I do that. That's a lot of my day, dude. And Zoom meetings, man. Right. So you and I are doing this live, and I got people at my farm enjoying my farm right now, fishing, and they keep sending me pictures and videos. Like, dude, every cast I'm catching a bass or blah blah blah. I'm like, well, I'm here working. You know what I mean? Not a good thing or bad thing. It's just that's where we're at. And I wouldn't want to be anywhere else right now, honestly. But life is happening. Real things are going on, and and we just keep making moves, dude. What else can we do?
Dude, I think it's important because both of us put pretty substantial constraints on our schedule from the business side, right? In a good way, right? There's been a time where constraints used to be put on us, and then we'd be scrambling on a Saturday or in the evening or after hours during dinner time, and that's not fun. And so if you don't put constraints on your schedule, somebody else is going to put constraints on your schedule or create some activity that needs to happen during your calendar, and they're not going to respect your time the same way that you respect your time. So that needs to be very important of what do those constraints look like. And I remember when I started putting like these heavy constraints on my schedule, it made me far more efficient, far more effective, far more aware of where I was wasting time. Like to your point, dude, there's never been a meeting that didn't take 2 hours. It's an in-person meeting. Right? Because you got to drive 20 to 30 minutes to get there, 20 to 30 minutes to get back. There's an obligatory hour that needs to be spent with somebody for some reason. That's just like, hey, I get a Zoom calendar meeting and they block out an hour. I was like, bro, I got 15 minutes on this phone call. I don't have an hour, right? I got other stuff
Yeah.
going on. And I set that very clearly either before the meeting or as soon as I get on the phone call, if it's something like that. But like I just don't do in-person meetings anymore because all the time it could be handled in a 10 to 15-minute phone call, if it even needs to be handled by me in the first place at all. And so I find by putting constraints on the calendar, how can you be more efficient, right? And so I've done things like one to many, right? Like social media, a podcast is a great example of that. We can have this conversation and make a big impact, or I can do a video or do a post about a deal. Instead of me having to pick up the phone and hammer out phone calls to 200 investors, I can just send out an email, right? One to many, or I can send out a post, or I can do a video call or do a video webinar. And I look for one to many activities that have more reach to then cast a wider net, and then that quantity leads to quality, right? And then people can raise their hand, I want to invest in that deal, or I want to participate in that, or I want to be a client of you, or I want to, like, whatever, whatever it is. And then I can have one-on-one phone calls with those individuals if I see fit for that, right? So I think putting those constraints on your calendar is a very important thing because it eliminates the time you can spend scrolling on social media. It eliminates the time that you spend sitting and goofing off on stupid emails that actually don't move the needle on things. So one-to-many activities is a big deal. Evergreen activities are a big deal too, right? Doing a webinar for an investor presentation, doing a webinar to sell something or buy something or post on something, that is evergreen, meaning it's always available at 2 o'clock in the morning when I'm sleeping. Somebody might be going on social media, or the algorithm pops up on their social media and they see my posts or they see my stories and they say, oh, that's interesting. And there's a connection then that happens there that even when I'm not working, that's working on my behalf. And then again, going back to that's a quantity type piece. And then there's the quality side of things of the conversations I'm having with the people who actually move the needle, right? It's my team members, my executive team and mid-level management that then are going to go and implement at the site level of all the different properties, or meeting with the executive team, the C-level, the C-suite for smart management.
Yeah.
Meeting with them, doing a 30-minute phone call on Mondays, 30-minute phone call on Tuesdays. Here's the business stuff. Here's the business development stuff that we need to talk about. Boom. Then they go and implement and execute for the rest of the week. Like, those are the high-level phone calls that are the highest priority and highest use, I would say, of my time during the day.
No, 100%, dude. I think the big thing is too, like, if you're married or you have a girlfriend or a boyfriend or whatever, we have a dating. Me and Dina date, and you got to figure out when that works for you per week. By the way, we don't do this once a month. We do it once a week. It's every Friday from 8 a.m. to 9:30. Right? We go to breakfast. We sit down at a little coffee shop. Dina doesn't eat. Like, we're just, coffee, tea, whatever, sitting there just talking. What's going on? What's working? What's not? Usually at night too, we try to take a 30-minute walk after dinner as a family. The problem is now, though, my son's almost 11, so he wants to go play with his buddies, which is absolutely cool. And but it's sad for me at the same time, right? Because I don't get to connect with them, and he's learning stuff, and racket, whatever he's doing, being a boy. So it's like, sometimes I'm at home, it's just me and Dina, and we might put a puzzle together. Sounds crazy, like my grandma and I used to do as a kid.
Dude, we do that
But
all the
like,
time.
she loves doing that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
What's that?
I do that all the time. Yeah.
Yeah, I love them. Like, the problem is with puzzles for me, once I get involved in it, dude, I can't stop till it's together. Like, like, I can't stop.
Nope.
So it's like 5 minutes is 50 minutes for me. But like, also, dude, I in Florida the whole year, I didn't golf one time. I don't golf. I'm not partying. I'm not hanging out at the club getting drunk. I'm not doing all that stuff a lot. And I'm not knocking. If that's what people want to do, great. But like, again, dude, like you said, from 8 to 3:30 for me, it's like I am in the game. Monster calls, mini meetings. We're talking, product distributions. I actually fly out tomorrow for Carolinas to go meet a distribution company we're looking to work with, shake hands, meet the person. I don't really normally do that, but this is again, this is medication, so I want to check the facility, like really do some high level due diligence, me and our partners. But like, sitting there and just seeing it and talking and, meeting these people, the coolest thing, I don't know about what you think, but like, dude, I might have my next best friend out there that they don't even know I exist yet, and vice versa,
Mm-hmm.
right? And if I don't show up either through one to many or one on one or whatever it is, the only reason I met that guy yesterday in person is because I wanted to get out of the house. Like I don't have hobbies. I'm not really hobby driven yet. I have kids. That's my hobby, right? Hanging out with the family. That's my hobby. And again, it's semi unhealthy, I think. Right? Like I do like, the DM fan, the DM, like these are like the people I connect with all the time. I'm not walking around town. I don't have my neighbor. I don't even know my neighbor's names. I genuinely don't. And I've been here in Florida for many, many years. So it's not that I'm unsociable. It's just I'm busy living my life. I don't care what they do. I don't care if the cops showed up yesterday. I don't care if their kids are yelling out back. It does nothing for me. I don't care. So it's like these different things as we're evolving, though. I do think the kids, I said my nights get a little different now because Drea's at the kids center, Mark's with his buddies, and I got from, like I said, 6 to 7:30ish, 7ish o'clock, whatever, an hour and a half, 2 hours. So now I could read more. I could, again, it's changing as we evolve for sure.
Always, dude.
Yeah.
Just like we're growing, dude. Our calendar changes. Our calendar evolves. Are there things, and what I want to acknowledge is like, when we're growing a business, you're always in like, what's the highest and best use of my time? If I'm not spending my time on $1,000 an hour activities or $10,000 an hour activities or things along those lines, it's like, dude, that I'm being inefficient. And I get that, and that should be, you should make as much money as you possibly can inside the time dedicated to business and economics for you and finance, right?
Yeah.
I think we all have the responsibility to do that to the nth degree inside certain constraints, right? And then what's the highest and best use of your time with your family, on your own personal health, on your own personal development, with God or the universe and your spirituality side of things. Like there's a highest and best use trying to, and I agree, it's like you're never balanced, but you can try to live in harmony, right? I think you're going to lead with certain relationships during certain seasons of your life, whether that's business or spousal or having kids or friends or other types of hobbies or health or whatever. But that doesn't mean all the rest of them need to be neglected and need to suffer, right? Like all those other ones, you can do little activities. There's quantifiable things that you can do that keep the needle moving forward on the health side of things. And another thing that I want to acknowledge is like, you do this and I do this, is like we double up on certain activities that check two boxes. You take a walk with the family, right? That's your health box and your relationship box. I take a walk on business calls. That's the business box, the finance box, and the health box, right? And then I'm doing family activities, or we're doing personal growth stuff and watching videos on different places around the world and learning about things that we want to go and do together. And at the same time, we're reflecting on what we're thankful for. Oh my gosh, can you watch these videos? Like we watch videos on kids in Africa of like, this is how other people live, right? This is how other kids are raised. And like that, there's a fulfillment side that comes to all that stuff. So I think it's important to just kind of acknowledge that you can double some of this stuff up and be more efficient in your hours. And
you should double it. Listen, there's two things. One, my business life and personal life are meshed together. If I'm going to a business meeting, I take my kid to the meeting at 12 noon. Like he's going with me. My daughter, she doesn't really want to yet, but she will go with me. Right? Like these are things. Again, it was funny with Drea. She's like, but Dad, you're going to put me on stage. I'm like, Drea, we're going to the club and sitting at a table. What are you talking about? She's so afraid because like when we do events, that big event, I'm like, Drea, you're going on stage. You ready? She's like, no, like runs out, freaks out. But so we got that. And it's like, they're incorporated, dude. I don't have like my work is here, my business, like my life is my life. It's just, we all have this stuff going on. I want to be involved in the kids and wife and all, whatever. Secondly, the reason most people, I truly 100% believe most people have too much time on their hands, not enough time, right? I think they're doom scrolling. By the way, you don't have to believe me. Pull up your phone and see what they're like. Look at where their time is spent, screen time. Dude, they're doom scrolling on shit that will never, ever, ever, ever do anything for them except create anxiety, fear, stress, guilt, everything, right? You'll be crying and then you'll be happy and then you'll be excited and then you'll be rich and then you'll be bored. Like, in like 13 seconds. So they have too much time. And when you, like you said, when you constrain stuff, I have to get this stuff done in this timeline. like, and more importantly, actually stick to it, magic happens. Just like if you're going on a trip, I leave tomorrow morning at 7:44. My stuff will get done before I get on that plane. Period. I don't take computers. I got my phone. I don't take anything with me. I'm going there to work. I'm not going there to hang out. I'm not going there to think about, dude, actually, I'm actually setting up more meetings, right? I hit up Nate Kennedy. I was like, yo, I'll be in Charlotte. Here's what I'm going to be Friday. Can we get 7 people, 10 people? He's the what kind of people in there. I was like, I want multimillionaire business owners that are cool, period. That's all I want. Like, so we put that together, right? So it's like, how do we double, triple, quadruple efforts with the same people, as opposed to like, dude, I see people just traveling, just hanging out. Mm-hmm. Like, why? Like, dude, you're there. Like, take advantage of the opportunity and meet new people. So that's all I want to do is constantly meet new prospects and forge relationships, man.
I love it, man. I love it.
Yeah.
No, it's good to see. And there's daily routines that we go through. I'm sure there's things. I know for me, like similar to you guys have your date mornings, your date breakfasts. We do like Friday Family Fun Day on a weekly routine. Dude, I don't schedule any calls, any meetings, anything on Fridays, right? Henry Ford said there needed to be a 5-day work week. Like that doesn't pertain to me, right? That could pertain to his business and his workers. But for me, I work 4 days a week like a psychopath during those 4 days. And then on Fridays, man, I come back from working out and I say, Annabelle, what do you want to do today, right? And she says, here's all the stuff, or let's go to the park. Dad, I want to go to a cafe and eat a muffin, right? And she is like, and then I want to go to the playground and go down the big slide, and let's go to the other slide that we went to last week or whatever. And she says yesterday for anything that happened in the past. But it's just like, dude, that's the kind of memories that I want to make and that I want her to remember. And
sure.
And we've been doing this with the kids since Penelope was 2 years old. Like obviously the older kids are in school, but like that's the Friday routine. And then Saturday we usually do some family stuff and pool days, and Sundays we do a track workout and then go to acai bowls. And so like there's these routines and these traditions that we've tried to implement into our lives that, I think these kids, I think they cement really, really good memories, and will stay with them forever, right? And then when they look back on their childhood, they're not going to remember that one time, but they're going to remember the tradition of going on a weekly basis. And that creates a level of confidence, I think, in kids as they grow up, and appreciation, right, for the parents, and appreciation and gratitude for how they were raised. And so I think there's things like that we pay attention to, going on a number of trips on a per year basis. And every July we go someplace for almost a month, and then spring break, and then trying to do some trips around the holidays, and doing someplace for New Year's and stuff like that, where I think it cements some really, really good traditions in the family. So,
Yeah. So what I'm hearing is like everyone here needs to be, it's funny because in business people, everyone has core values and traditions. When things happen, you get this, you get that. What core values and what traditions are you forging in your personal life, your family life? It's like, I'm telling you, like, these are things that every single person can do, and they're going to change as the kids get out of the house. This happens. And like that's a big thing me and Medina talk about. Is like, dude, today we're, mom and dad with kids at 10 and 7. But what kind of mom and dads are we when the kids are 23 and 18? Mm-hmm. Looks different, right? They're out of the house. They're not around. I always joke to kids, I'm like, wherever you go, I'm buying a condo next door. 100%. I don't care where, I don't care if you live in 7 places. I'm buying 7 condos right there. Like, by the way, I'm building my bank to do that, like financially, like to be prepared for when that happens, so they can call my bluff and I pull it out. So I genuinely, and not only that, like, yeah, dude, life has changed, ever evolving, but talking, memories. Dude, some of my best memories are going to Pizza Hut on a Friday night, sitting in the smoking section with my mom and dad, playing, what is it, Pac-Man and all that stuff. And, like, that was a big deal where I come from. A lot of this shit doesn't even cost money, by the way. Mm-hmm. Going to the park is free. Walking around town is free. A lot of this stuff is not about that. It's about actually setting it on your schedule and implementing it.
Yeah. Dude, and it's like I've been starting to think about what are the traditions we can implement on a weekly or monthly basis now, so that way it stays with us long term, right? Sunday night dinners. We grill out big steaks every Sunday night, and we hang out and we play games, and it's like a non-negotiable, right? Like that's something that I hope we can maintain when the kids are in high school, right? Because they're not out with their friends on a Sunday afternoon or Sunday evening necessarily in high school, or when they come back from college, if they even go to college, right? Or whenever they're in the real world and they have their own jobs and they have their own homes, and dude, they can still come back to mom and dad's, and we still do Sunday night dinners with great steaks or seafood or whatever every single
Yeah.
Sunday, and that's the tradition that lasts for as long as I'm alive, hopefully,
Right.
you know?
Absolutely.
And I think that's powerful stuff. So, dude, I think this is an awesome episode. I hope people get a lot of good value out of it from a standpoint of, where are you prioritizing your time? What is the highest, best use of your time? Not just on the business side, but also on the personal and family side, to make a bigger impact in the family, to sustain your health, right? To connect more with the universe and God and your spiritual side of things, and making sure you're prioritizing those, as well as putting constraints around the things that maybe are taking up too much of your time, that are negative influences, to make sure that you can just live on your terms instead of somebody else's.
Absolutely, man. No, I think it's great, dude, and we'll keep this going, guys. Let us know if you like this show, if you like learning more about behind the curtains, the day-to-day actions of what Tim and I are up to, who we're talking, who we're not talking to is just, by the way, who we're not talking to is just equally as important. We didn't get there today, but there's a lot of people I'm not talking to just because it's not worth talking about to them. I mean, they're, Mickey Mouse stuff, right? So you got to be careful and protect your time. But I appreciate you guys being here. Share the show, like and comment. Let us know what you think, and if you need help, let us know. But make sure you tag Tim Bratz and Mark Evans DM on all posts so we can see them. And go leave that 5-star review. Appreciate you guys. Thank you, Tim.
Thanks, guys.